Hello, and thank you for joining us. Today, we'll be looking at the claim by the Muslim people who keep saying that Jesus is not better or anywhere higher than Adam himself, because Jesus only had the privilege of doing whatever he did by the permission of Allah. For Jesus to have created a bed, it was done by the permission of Allah. We know it is only Allah or only God that has the power to create life and take life. And Jesus did exactly according to the Quran. The Quran said Jesus did create life in Surah to Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse, which verse is that? Verse 110 of Surah to Ma'idah. It says that Jesus fashioned out a bed and breathed in life, and the bread became a living bed, and that bed is appeared to be somehow the mother of all beds, because there is no record where Allah created another bed again other than what Jesus did created, and therefore the bed created by Jesus is actually the mother of all bed as we have it today. And then Jesus performed miracles. He raised the dead, which Allah alone has the capacity to do that, according to chapter 22 of the Quran, verse 5 and 6. And then we see many things that Jesus did according to the Quran, a version or standard, and that Jesus, in fact, spoke even when he was in his mother's womb to defend his mother from those who were accusing her of pregnant without being married. Jesus defended her. And we see so many mighty and greater miracles that Jesus performed in the Quran. And the Quran is simply saying, actually, those things happen by the permission of Allah, not because Jesus was specially made. In fact, though the Quran said Jesus was born of a virgin and that he was completely so pious and pure, according to chapter 19 of the Quran, verse 19 and 21. It's called Jesus Christ a pure son. Pure son. So that gives us some kind of draws our attention to actually look into critically to reconcile this daily argument or daily claim by the Muslim Ummah. Is it actually true to say that Jesus was created? Because one kind of the account in the Quran did claim something that is so fundamentally contradicting and is so disturbing to us to see, because we have about two accounts of who Jesus and how Jesus came about, but the Quran and in the Quran, and that we keep hearing the Muslims to choose one and to leave the other one, or to mix one another from, in order to confuse the people who are listening to that. But our focus today is to find out, was Jesus actually created or he was born? That is what we want to establish. The Quran gives us both accounts, and we want to establish which one should be believed. Should we believe that Jesus Christ was born? Can we have other historical fact or evidence outside the Quran that confirms that Jesus Christ was actually born like any other human being? Did the Quran support that? Or was Jesus created like Adam? Are there other scriptures or other evidence outside the Quran that also support the creation of Jesus to be like that of Adam? Because we read in chapter 3 of the Quran, verse 59. Read with me here on the screen. Indeed, the example of Jesus in the sight of Allah is like that of Adam. He created him from dust, then said to him, "Be," and he was. That's chapter 3, verse 56 of the Quran. Some of us wonder, is the Quran speaker here confused? Or is he saying this with an aim to deceive his audience or his listeners? Because we read in Surah to Maryam, in fact, in this chapter 3, let's start from verse 43 to 52 of the same chapter, just the previous verses. You listen to what the verse says. "O Mary, be devout to your Lord, prostrate your prayers in your prayer and bow along with those who bow down. This is a news of unseen what we reveal to you, O Prophet. You were not with them when they cast lot to decide who will be Mary's guardian. Nor were you there when they guard it about them." Remember, when the angels proclaim, "O Mary, Allah gives you good tidings of a word from him. His name will be the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, honored in this world and in the thereafter. And he will be one of the most nearest to Allah, one of the most nearest to Allah. So there are those who are closer to Allah than others. Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's a topic on its own. Now it continues. And he will speak to people in his infancy and adulthood, and will be one of the righteous. Mary wondered. My Lord said, he said, how can I have a child when no man has ever touched me? See, the issue of man touching comes in here. Let's go. An angel replied, so will it be. Allah creates what he wills. When he decrees a matter, he simply tells it be, and it is. And Allah will teach him writing and wisdom, the Torah and the gospel, and make him a messenger to the children of Israel to proclaim, I have come to you with a sign from your Lord. So Jesus was meant for, according to the Quran, for the children of Israelite. He came to and for the children of Israelite. I will make you, Jesus will declare, according to the Quran, I continue, I have come to you with a sign from your Lord. I will make for you a bed from clay, breathe into it, and it will become a real bed by Allah's will. I will heal the blind and leper and raise the dead to life by Allah's will. And I will prophesy what you eat and store in your houses. Surely in this is a sign for you, if you truly believe. And I will confirm the Torah revealed before me and legalize some of what had been forbidden to you. I have come to you with a sign from your Lord. So be mindful of Allah and obey me. Be mindful of Allah and obey me. Surely Allah is my Lord and your Lord. So worship him alone. This is straight path. When Jesus sensed disbelief from his people, he asked them, who will stand up with me for Allah? The disciples replied, we will stand up for Allah. We believe in Allah, so bear witness that we have submitted. So you see, the verses is clearly explaining how the birth of Jesus Christ came about. That Jesus Christ, according to this account, we can also see the same thing in chapter 19, from verse 16 to 21. To 21. In fact, let me say to 25. So, but our focus here is just to establish the fact that the Quran had earlier said that in the verse ahead, that Jesus Christ was created like Adam. Really? We know how Adam was created. Adam was created from the dust. And in his creation, God fetched the sand and fashioned out Adam and breathed in Adam. As a grown man, Adam became a living being, a male human being, a grown man who never lived in the mother's womb, who never go through the process of childhood. Adam never learned how to speak. He never learned how to eat. He was never taught how to walk. He was never taught anything. He was a great and grown man already. So the Quran had given us the account of how Adam was, and other historical facts, including the Bible, have confirmed that Adam was made by God in that order and as a grown man at the time he was made. He was not made like an infant. He was grown as an adult. And had been able to, he can communicate and do everything like an adult will do. So there was no need for him to go through the process because he never stayed in a womb of any woman, because there was no woman in the existence at the time. Now, in this verse, it tells us here that Jesus actually did was created exactly like Adam. So is the Quran saying that Jesus was created like Adam, which could have meant that this verse of chapter 19 and chapter 3 of some verses, which gives the account of how Maryam was confronted by the Jibril, the angel, how the narration of giving birth to Jesus, that she was going to be giving birth to Jesus as a virgin, and Mary even countered that by saying, how will that be possible? Because I have not met a man. And the Quran gives explanation in detail that don't worry, Allah knows how he does better. Whatever he wants, whenever he wants, he just let it be. He said, let it be, and it be. So the Quran gives that explanations. But it later contradicts itself by saying that no, the truth is that Allah actually created Adam. I mean, Adam like Jesus, or Jesus exactly like Adam. Jesus like Adam. He just said Jesus to be, and Jesus be, like Adam was being and he became. So it means Jesus Christ never stayed in his mother's womb. It means he was never born, like the Quran claimed in some verses. It means Jesus was never taught, because the Quran even go further to explain that Allah will teach him how to write and wisdom. So all those things must have been a fabricated story, because Jesus was not born for him to be able to go through the cradles, the infancy, the learning things process, the growth process, and all of that. It did mention so many things. So some of us are actually so confused on some of the claims by the Quran. Which one do we believe? Is it that Allah created Jesus like Adam, which would have made him a complete grown man with no need of being an infant or learn any wisdom or grow in any form because he was already grown? Or was he actually born, like this verses also did say? He was born, his mother go through hard times of labor, and that he learned wisdom and he learned writing from Allah, and he spoke at infancy. And when he was an infant, even in his cradle, he spoke to defend his mom, and so many things that Jesus did when he was a child, according to these verses. Which one do we believe in? Want the Muslims to actually help us answer this. Which one should we believe? Was he created like Adam, or he was born? If he was born, then it means that the other creation, like Adam, it is a contradiction and it's a lie. If he was created, then it means this verses which claims that Jesus Christ was born of a virgin is also a lie. Which one do we go for? And is it an issue of abrogation, where Allah must have replaced some revelation with much more better ones, like we've seen in chapter 16, where he decides what to reveal and what to retain? Sometimes he will reveal some revelation and later cancel it and bring some more new and better ones. If that is the case, the Quran should clearly explain to us so that we will understand the story better. But let me clearly read this Surah to Maryam, chapter 19, from verse 16 to down, so that we will understand it better and have a clear picture of what the Quran has to offer here. Now, he said in chapter 19, verse 16 down, he said, and mentioned in the book of prophet, or prophet, the story of Mary when she withdrew from the family to a place in the Near East, screening herself off from them. Then we sent to her our angel, Gabriel, appearing before her as a man, perfectly formed. She appealed, I truly seek refuge in the most passionate from you. So leave me alone. Mary tottered and was confused. So the verse continued. If you are God-fearing, he responded, that is, the angel responded, I am only a messenger from your Lord, sent to bless you with a pure son. Pure son. She wondered, how can I have a son when no man has ever touched me, nor am I an unchaste? He, the angel, replied, saying, so will it be. Your Lord said, it is easy for me, and so will we make him a sign for humanity and a mercy from us. It is a matter already decreed. So she conceived and withdrew with him to a remote place. Then the pains of labor drove her to the trunk of a palm tree. She cried, "Alas, I wish I had died before this, and I was a thing long forgotten." So you see, there was so many things mentioned here. The conversation between Mary and the prophet, or the messenger, and Gabriel, the angel, was there, clearly explained. The angel appeared in a form of a man. Mary protested, "Please leave me alone. Maybe Mary thought that this angel wanted to approach her and then begin to toast her in a way. Then the angel said, "If you are a God-fearing person, just listen, because I am sent by your Lord. And the message, or the reason for me being sent, is to give you a pure son. So therefore, if you are God-fearing, you need to listen to me." Then Mary replied, it's like she was surprised. "Why will you say that? If it's from the Lord should know, or from my Lord, the Lord should know that I'm not married. And she knows that I've never met any man. How can I be pregnant? How can I have a son without being touched by a man?" Then the angel replied, "No, don't worry. It is the issue of Allah's job. He knows how to do better. He just decides things. He decrees things and it happens as he wills. He will just say, 'Let it be,' and it come. Kun fayakun, and things will just come to be. So don't worry about how it's going to be." And that is it. That was their end of conversation, as Mary said, "Oh, in that case, let his will be done." And the angel disappeared. At least the conversation ended there. So from that time, Mary became pregnant and she conceived. So, and we also see that after she conceived, she goes through the process of withdrawing herself from other people, so that to avoid any kind of allegations or some kind of people, maybe she began to hide away because she was afraid people keep saying that, "Oh, see, this woman must have done ABCD, and that is why she became pregnant." So she avoided and she tried to hide herself in some certain place. And that was what happened. So when the time of labor came to her, she had to now excuse herself, go to a hidden place, to a palm tree, according to the verse, where she hid herself and had her baby there. Now, from what we are saying here, it's clearly established that Jesus Christ was born. Or he was actually born like any other human being, because the mother had to go through the birth pain. The mother had to suffer so much. But the Quran, in some verses like we've read previously, it said that Jesus was created. So is the Quran mixing up creation with birth? The meaning of creation and birth? Because creation is completely different and birth is different, because birth is a replica of what is already existing. Well, creation, it happens from nothing. If Allah created a man, it means Allah created a man out of no man, because there was no man in anywhere existing. That's why God had to create man in a certain way, which he did create it. A man became the first type of a being to be like that. So, but if we have anybody that is being born, it means it's just a reproduction of your kind. Go and reproduce. So it means that there is, you can come out as a born person, someone who is born, you can come out of a place where you have been born, or some from a human being who did actually exist, and that is why you can only come out of that, and that's what happened. So in that case, we can clearly establish now that the Quran is confused, or the speaker in the Quran is actually confused, mixing up the story of creation and birth. And if he wants us to believe the two, then we cannot believe either, because it must have been deception and misleading to say that Jesus Christ was born in some places and later say he was actually created in some places. And you want us to believe that. It's actually difficult to conceive that, and that is what is challenging. So we want the Muslim Ummah to help us confirm which one should we believe on the comment section. Kindly click the subscription button for you to have update on whenever we drop our new videos on topics that are very much important, because life is actually essential and it gives some certain level of degree for our assurance of salvation, both now and in the thereafter. Thank you very much. Till we meet again. Bye for now.